But oh, I was talking about that too, about the claims of right. Well, I was sorry, I'm all over the place. But so, Rob Bernard, he talks about, you can do a claim of right. And I'm thinking, okay, so you could actually just go out. I want to ask him this question. You could just go out and find a little piece of land. And he mentioned, actually, somebody in New Zealand did this, I believe. You file this notice of understanding and intent. And you basically, you record it with the government. You're not registering anything. You're just recording it. So you're not signing it over to anybody. You're just saying, look, I'm going to go out onto this piece of land and I'm going to build myself a little natural house. I don't need to follow the building codes and all that nightmare. I'm just going there. I'm not hurting anybody. Nobody else is there. If somebody was already there, you wouldn't be able to do it. But if nobody's there, I really think we could do this. You just go find 50 acres somewhere and say, okay, this is what we're going to do. Okay, we're just letting you know that just out of politeness. Okay, we're not asking your permission to do it. We're just being polite and letting you know that we're there. You don't need to be afraid of us or whatever. And we plan to, grow our own food and have our own little monetary system and whatever, start up a whole new little society. And Rob Bernard, that's why he started the Freeman Society, because he realized that the legal, it's the law society is what it's called, and they created all these courts, this whole court system, which has nothing to do with lawfulness. It's just a big game, and it's so big that we all think that it has some sort of authority over us. It doesn't, okay? So he says, because we don't have our own society, we have no name for our society. We just call it in general society, right? The law society has its very distinct society. And they say, well, these people that have no society, well, they fall under our society. We'll protect them, we'll take care of them, but in reality, we're just going to use and abuse these people because they don't understand. So the two lawyers on either side, they're not really in it to win for you, right? Because they win either way. They're the lawyers, they're making the money, it's their courts, and it's their game. So, that's why there's so much injustice going on in the court systems. Well, so Rob has found out some interesting things about if a lawyer or a judge acts fraudulently in their position, they are personally liable. And you can flip the tables on them and call them on it. They're just not expecting you to understand the laws because you're not a lawyer. So it's just sort of like, it seems like it's a big inside secret among them all or something. Or I imagine most of them don't even realize it. I've got to imagine. They don't even realize how big this is and how it really works. But I think the judges understand exactly how it works. At least most of them for the bigger courts. So anyway, we need to start flipping the tables on this whole thing, just like Jane Burgermeister, filing charges against the UN and the WHO, okay? We just need to get aggressive and say, look, we're calling you out. We know what you're doing, and we're not playing your game anymore. And not only that, we're holding you criminally responsible because you have deceived and defrauded masses of people. But anyway, so Rob's plan, okay, I got to get to it, right? Police state. Okay, turns out that you can, remember they were always called peace officers instead of police officers, yeah? You always heard of them called peace officers, and they were like your friendly peace officers, walking around, and, you could trust them, and they were there to keep the peace. Well, they have slowly, or pretty quickly actually, merged into police officers, which are there as policy enforcement agents, basically to enforce all these inane statutes that everybody thinks they have to follow so that they can write tickets and collect money. They're just revenue collecting agents, yeah? So as long as we're stupid, they're going to keep taking as much money from us as they can, okay? Because greed knows no bounds. I mean, these guys know no limit of greed. I'm not talking about the police officers, but, these international bankster mobster freaks, I mean, they just want to get you every which way they can. So I'm really grateful that they don't have a limit to their greed, because if they did, we might not have woken up to this. We might not have figured this out. I think they just pushed us so far, we said, you know what? Enough is enough. Okay, and in fact, that's how Rob, they pushed him so far. He's brilliant. He doesn't get mad. He gets even, and boy, does he get even. So anyway, so there's peace officers, police officers, right? Well, police officers act as they play two different roles. So they wear a peace hat. They're supposed to walk around and keep the peace, right? They also wear a police hat, and they switch back and forth. Well, he's got a video. You'd have to watch it. He's got a video called Rob's Very Cunning Plan, and then he's got an addendum to it, or and then some, as he calls it. He's a funny guy. So he's fun to listen to. So anyway, and he explains this very clearly. I wouldn't even be able to explain this, but he gives a great explanation of it. So you've got to go see that. And then so what he's saying is, we all have the right to be peace officers. We can volunteer and create our own peace force. We can even carry guns. And we outnumber police officers, well, he was talking in Canada specifically, 900 to 1. There's 900 people, sentient souls, walking around, compared to every one police officer. So now if he says, what if 10% of the sentient souls walking around volunteer to be peace officers? They don't even get paid. They're just doing this to, retract or keep calm and put this police state down, not in a violent way, in a very, very, very intelligent way. And
yesterday, I saw a blue light gang member attempting to extract money from an unlucky driver whose actions caused no harm. I decided to take out my camera and record this police officer in front of rush hour traffic. Essentially, what I'm doing is challenging the authority of the authorities in front of the other subjects. They hate it when you do that. Wearing my press badge, I took a seat across the parking lot on a curb to appear less threatening. This is the part where he drives off and I go on my way. But wait a minute. Oh, goody goody. He's gonna come teach me a lesson, isn't he? If there's one thing the state can't stand, it's people questioning its authority.
What's going on, man?
What's your name? What's your name?
Can I help you with something?
What's your name?
Officer Malcolm.
Officer Malcolm, who are you with?
Okay. Do you need anything from the Clyde Police Department?
Do I look like it?
Well, you're videotaping me from a traffic stop. I'm wondering if
Aren't you doing the same thing?
Am I doing the same thing?
Are you videotaping me right now?
Absolutely.
Did you ask my permission?
I'm just asking if you need something.
Did you
That's
ask
all
my
I'm asking.
permission, sir?
All I'm asking you is if you need anything from the police department. If it's a no, I will leave.
Have a nice day.
Okay.
With just a few short questions, Mr. Malcolm quickly realizes this was a really bad idea. People outnumber police by 1,000 to 1. What's going to happen as more and more people begin to question the authority of the state?
so, and he gives a great example about if the police officer, if the peace officer, the volunteer peace officer is acting peacefully, and the police officer gets into a confrontation with the peace officer, then they can go, and the other guy can, the peace officer can bring him into court, because the police officer, okay, sorry I'm getting complicated at all, but the police officer, because he isn't a direct agent for the government, he is bound by all those statutes and laws. Yeah? You're not, because you're a free man. Even, working as a peace officer, you're only bound to the laws. But him working for the government, he's bound to all the laws. So he's got a lot of restriction on him. And if he breaks the peace with you while you're just trying to keep the peace, then he is personally liable. And you can attach a monetary amount on this, I think. So like Rob, he's done a notice of intent and a claim of right. If anybody pulls him over and unlawfully gives him a ticket or something like that, or I don't know, wastes his time, he charges $200 an hour. Because he says when they give you an order and you have no contract with them because you never pulled out your fictitious person, you never pulled out that ID, you never said you understand, but they just throw it at you anyway, you can totally just flip the whole thing around where you don't have to pay it and you turn around and charge them. And you could charge them a whole lot more than they charged you because you already put it on paper. I intend, every time you guys do this to me out of your own stupid ignorance, I intend to charge you this much money for this, for putting me through this hassle. And he charges, if he ever gets arrested like this, he charges $2,000 an hour. Now imagine that. Imagine that. Now, woo! There goes the fear of getting arrested, doesn't it? Because you're like, well, I warned the cop. I explained it very clearly. He's just too ignorant to understand that he's breaking the law, and I'm totally within the law. Go ahead. You don't want to fight with these guys. They got tasers and guns. You totally go calmly. Say, okay, I'm just warning you, guy. You're going to be personally liable for my $2,000 an hour bill. I know you don't understand that because these guys never told you that. They don't care. They're going to let you hang on the hook. and I'm just trying to be your friend. I'm trying to be as honest as I can about this. You might want to stop and rethink what you're doing. But if you want to go all the way, I'm going peacefully, but I'm totally under protest and duress. I do not agree with this. But I'm not going to fight you. You got a gun. You know, that kind of a thing. Very intelligent approach. Then come out, you know, you're not even like upset about getting arrested. 3 days? Okay, at $2,000 an hour, yeah, start adding that up. You see how this flips the whole thing around?